Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the #1 professional wrestling radio show in Las Vegas. This is the Marq Hoke Show. The Marq Hoke Show. Going bell to bell with the best in professional wrestling news, entertainment, and lots of Sin City surprises from inside the squared circle. Now, let's get to all the exciting pro wrestling action and bring on the host. Here is Marq Hoke.
All right, everybody, let's fire up hour number 2 of the Marq Hoke Show here on KDAWN 101.5 FM. It is the talk of Las Vegas. Bringing it the best, man. That's what we do. Phil Stamper from the Wrestling Revolver and Maryland Championship Wrestling. He's all over the place.
I am the gentleman in the room.
Not buying it.
I concur with that.
Wow.
I mean, according to Private Party, you're the Mark, and I guess that's the Stu. So I'm the gentleman.
Okay. I'm down, I guess. That's all right. People don't need to call me a gentleman. Stu Myrick from Sports Guys Talking Wrestling in Austin, Texas. Awesome show, by the way. If you haven't heard it, you need to go listen to it. Please. I'm telling you, you're going to have a blast listening to Stu. So, yeah.
By the way, Phil, nice Wrestling Revolver Texas Championship.
Thank you.
That's a fantastic title belt.
Yeah, we are.
I assume that means you guys are coming to the Lone Star State a little more often.
Yeah, we have some plans.
I like it.
So things will be coming. But yeah, we put up the picture of the brand new Revolver Texas Championship. When Sammy messaged me, there's times when I'm like, I know Sammy's really happy with something, and like he was giddy. Yes. and then he sent the pictures, and I was like, this is really cool.
It's fantastic. It really is. And I'm looking forward to seeing Wrestling Revolver down here. Mm-hmm. Might have to come to a show or two.
There you go.
I need to get Wrestling Revolver in Las Vegas. That's what I need. We gotta talk. You, me, and Sammy need to discuss this.
I mean, I think there are some options that are open. And, it's not like there's like a big event coming in the spring that,
not
we
at all.
Might be looking at.
There's
just saying.
There's places to do it. But now I have to say we were scheduled to have Brett Raymer from Tanked on the show. Brett ended up at the hospital last night. I just got texted by his girlfriend. So he went to the ER yesterday, and the poor guy's got some kidney stones that are racking him up. He's got one that's almost 5 millimeters. Youch. So, yeah, exactly. There's all this men cringe. So we will reschedule Brett. So I do apologize to everybody about that. But obviously, his girlfriend asked if I should wake him up, by the way. Should I wake him up?
No.
Like, no. We'll let Brett rest. But it'll be fun having Brett on the show. We'll make sure we get that rescheduled for you. By the way, let's see. Also, welcome Scott Jones in. Hello, gents. Gents. That's plural. That's a little better.
Yeah. All right.
That's a little better. And by the way, Scoop said that is a pretty belty.
It is nice. It is very nice. And it's not the usual. So like when companies do a Texas Heavyweight Championship, it's usually the old school back in world class.
Yeah.
That style. So this is different, and I really like it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Phil Stamper putting it up in the
I'm
background.
trying to green screen. Chair, of course, is now in the way, so you can't like.
Yeah. Brown strap. I like it.
Yeah, beautiful belt. So, yeah, make sure you guys check out the Wrestling Revolver. It's going to be a great time, apparently, in the Lone Star State. I tell you what, I think let's back off on Full Gear a little bit because we pretty much with Private Party and all that, we were hammering AEW for a while. Let's go to what's going on in Survivor Series and what got everybody talking on Friday night. I do a little piece for a couple of our stations for Saturday morning, and I had it written as, we still don't have the partner. Who's the fifth man for the original Bloodline? And then all of a sudden, my Twitter's blowing up about 3 minutes before I'm getting ready to record the piece. And lo and behold, CM Punk and Paul Heyman return Heyman brings Punk out, introduces him as the fifth man. So now the original Bloodline has CM Punk on their side. The Bloodline 2.0 has Bronson Reed on their side. But everybody is going absolutely nuts about this, fellas, that CM Punk is there. And, we're teasing a little tension between Roman and Punk. Phil, do you like the choice?
In many respects, I like the presentation of the choice. I don't know if I like the choice because I thought maybe because we wouldn't have a repeat of what happened at last year's WrestleMania, where it felt like here you have Cody Rhodes wanting the championship. The Rock's now involved. Roman's the champion, but CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, they're in the picture. Seth Rollins is in the picture. It felt like it was getting too convoluted a little bit, and it was like almost too much up top. And then, they whittled down to what happened, and some of that was negated by Punk had gotten injured. Drew's going in one direction. Okay, now Seth is separated out. So they worked it down through to a point where I think it ended up being good. But now I'm a little worried if that's where Punk is, and they're going to tease this rivalry with Roman. Well, where does that put The Rock? Is instead of The Rock Roman that they were maybe going to talk about, now is it going to be Rock Cody again? And we're going to be focused on that, which I'm not opposed, but it's sort of like the shuffle right now feels a little bit big. But in general terms, the Heyman Punk connection is kind of cool to see again. I mean, I am not always the biggest fan of CM Punk, but that connection always made me feel excited. Always made me feel like, oh, these two together are trouble. So I'm curious what happens next, but I have like a paused optimism about it.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. But one thing that, there's been rumors that The Rock has been saying that he's not going to be able to make it to WrestleMania this year. He's going to be tied up. So I wouldn't complain about Roman and Punk as a standalone match. I think that would be all right. Because now all of a sudden you're freeing up, we still don't know who Gunther would be. I mean, you were thinking kind of Gunther Punk, but I think I'd probably rather see Roman and Punk. I think that would be a lot of fun. You get Cody in possibly a three-way with Orton and Kevin Owens. There's a lot of fun that could be had with this, Stu.
Yeah, it's adding Punk to the OG Bloodline. Yeah, that makes it interesting. It really does. There are a few questions that I have in my mind. So first of all, you add Bronson Reed to Bloodline 2.0. Now, unless I'm mistaken, I remember seeing reports months ago that WWE had signed Hikuleo from New Japan Pro Wrestling.
That is correct.
Hikuleo is the brother of Tama Tonga Tongaloa. Where is he? You signed him. Why isn't he in this? It seems like the perfect opportunity. So instead of really wide, you get really tall.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering where Hikuleo is. So there's that. I will say this. So when Paul Heyman first came out, he's not wearing the usual tie and, everything. He was wearing a shirt, just a regular collar, shirt. And of course my mind goes so weird. So I'm looking at Paul Heyman dressed like part of the Bloodline 2.0. So I'm thinking, okay, they're going to find a way to turn him, I guess. But no, they didn't. As for what happens as they head to WrestleMania, I think we are still, it's November 24th, so December, January, February, March, April. So we are 5 months away from WrestleMania. There's still a lot of time, and the rumors about The Rock may or may not be there. Look, let's take a breath. Yes, The Rock is incredibly busy, Moana 2 and all the other, whatever. Let's let it play out a little bit. Wrestling fans are the most passionate. But they can also be the most reactionary. Sometimes too reactionary. So let's let it play out. I like the idea of Cody, Kevin, and Randy triple threat at Mania. If you believe the talk around the campfire, we're going to get Kevin and KO at Saturday night's main event coming up in 3 weeks. So, I say let's play it out. Let's see what happens with Survivor Series, and then kind of just go from there. But yeah, I'm interested in this. Sure.
I think it's funny you mentioned about fans being reactionary, and I think everybody was thinking, we're going to get Roman and The Rock. It's time to do it. It's time to make this happen. And now all of a sudden, 10 minutes on SmackDown has changed everybody's perspective about this. I mean, they're like, you saw the showdown, and I was, because I caught it on Twitter and excuse me. And all of a sudden everybody's like, oh yeah, we've got to get this match. We got to get this match. We got to get this match. And it was like, what happened to The Rock? Didn't everybody want The Rock there? And it was funny that all of a sudden people just changed their minds like that.
And that's the way it's just, again, it's just, I don't know. Wrestling fans want it to happen now. They want everything happening now. And it's like, fellas, let's hey, long-term storytelling. That is the foundation of pro wrestling.
Sure is.
Let's let it be. You don't have to have it today.
And I think, and I'm going to take a shot in the dark when you say that, it's based off of comments that you see online, which is only a small representation of the entire wrestling watching audience. So,
sure.
Because I'm not gonna lie, I was one of those people who were like, and I don't know if you said this, I had a little brief power outage, so I just came back. So I don't know if you mentioned, like, but WWE has also signed Lance Anoa'i, who is Samu's son. So he's I'm trying to remember the connection of Samu and Afa. He was also trained with Afa, trained with Samu. So it's like, was he going to be the fifth member? That was brought up a lot too.
Right. I mentioned Hikuleo.
Okay.
So in the same vein, where's Lance Anoa'i? Where's Hikuleo?
Yeah, and so it's like they're there, but they're not there. You're like, oh, Lance Anoa'i or CM Punk. So I understand that they're already there, they're already established, already present. There's probably a plan to bring them in at some point, or if not, well, we also have to worry about what you're talking about, the next generation of our talent. And making sure they're ready to go. So when we do showcase them, oh, wow, we can build them up, put them in other spots, put them in that spot. Like, they're coming. Everybody breathe. And if you don't mind me saying, I do think that they've got to be really careful with this bloodline story, because if you start bringing in every person that is related to this group, and keep piling it on and piling it on and piling it on, and you do it too fast, it's got NWO, Wolfpack, and whatever else, white, green, pink, and purple written all over it if they don't slow this down. And you don't want to do that. I mean, you got to be really careful bringing in. Plus, you don't want to bring in people when they're not ready. Right. These guys, Lance and Hikuleo have got to get used to the WWE style a little bit. So it's going to take some time, and just throwing them out there right now, I think would be a huge mistake. And I think that it convolutes the storyline.
I get that. And I totally get that. I'm just, Hikuleo is not exactly a rookie. Lance Anoa'i is not exactly a rookie. So you sign. I mean, when did they get signed? It's been what, 3-4 months at least.
Yeah, Lance was just like a month or two ago. Hikuleo's been a while though.
Lance, but yeah, Hikuleo. I mean, I want to say he was back in the summer. So it's like, okay, you signed him. I mean, all right, put him in the NXT for a little bit. Then let him get some seasoning. Let him get into the WWE style.
See, there's a tough spot for him too, because people are going to have pressure on him to bring him up right to the main roster because of who he is and what's going on right now. And maybe he's not ready to do it. And if you throw him out there and he doesn't look good, you hurt everybody in that. You hurt the whole team.
That's true. The other thing is what you just said, Mark, about the WWE style. I would put it out there that the style has changed a little bit. Whether that's under Triple H or whatever, they've loosened it a little bit. It's not the free for all, but they're letting the wrestlers do a few things that they didn't do before. There are subtle differences. It's a little more hard hitting. It's a little more. So getting used to the style, I don't think would be as big of a jump now as it was even 2-3 years ago.
Phil, what do you think on that?
I would agree to a lot of that. I think because I remember when NXT started, and some of the people they were bringing in, it's like, well, some of the people they're bringing in are already great wrestlers. They should already be on the main roster. So that little bit of that, they should be there. There's no, don't wait, let's do it now. But there is that element of this is a different production. Having done some work behind the scenes with a couple different television brands and then independent wrestling, everybody sort of has a different approach to production. So even at least understanding, how do their cues work? How do they prefer things to be lit and recorded? And even the ability to record and edit some of your own stuff is one of the functional features of NXT. And so having that opportunity to learn that, I think, is going to be very valuable for your future success. The Rock just did an interview probably now about a month ago where he was talking about how he went to Vince to talk about wanting a pay raise. And Vince is like, why do you think you deserve it? And as he tried to justify, Vince is like, you need to work with every other department that's on the road with you. And you need to then come back to me after a month and tell me if you think you still deserve it. And he did that. And he's like, he said it didn't take him a month. It took him like a week or two. And he went back. He's like, I get it. You're right. He's like, what do you think you're going to, I see it now. I see how all these parts of the company work. I see how all these things work to put together this show. I understand it now. So I understand where my spot is. I'm good with the money you offer to me. And then Vince goes, well, how much money do you think you're going to make this year? And he said, well, 1.5, but 1 million's my guarantee, but I always typically do some rollover on merch and stuff. So about 1.5, he's like, you're going to make 15 this year because now you understand it. And now you know how it all comes together and works. And that he did make 15 million that year. So it is showing and telling, I think, of future superstars. It isn't just about how well you are a wrestler in the ring. That's very valuable to have. Of course, you need to have that. But to understand the other functions that happen inside of the world of professional wrestling to make it a better product and for you to showcase yourself better in that product.
Yeah, I would definitely give that advice to people that are out there, especially on the Indies network right now, where you still have a chance to learn it. One thing that I always did when I managed businesses was I didn't just sit in my office. I ran a movie theater and I had to learn projection, but I went out in the concession stand. I had been an usher before. I worked every job that you could possibly do in there. So I understood when I was running the show, this is what's really going on here. This is what's going on here. This is how this affects that. And, that's important knowledge, especially in today's world. Like I tried to get my daughter to try to teach her to do a little bit of video editing. Not that I'm the greatest at it at all, but at least show her how to do it because it's a skill. And some things like that, sound editing, video editing, are going to be huge as we continue to move forward with technology. So yeah, that's a very good point. But yeah, a lot of crazy stuff going on, and but good for The Rock. I'm glad he made the 15 mil. What a sweetheart! I'll tell you what. All right, we're gonna take another break, and I do want to remind everybody I've got a great friend over at Off Grid Creations. I think like Pro Wrestling Revolver or Sports Guys Talking Wrestling, maybe they need some new merch. Well, they could reach out to my friend Mike at Off Grid Creations. You can get a free brand consultation right now. He doesn't just say, "Oh, give me your logo and print something." He wants to help you develop your brand as well. They do embroidery, screen printing, promotional items, all sorts of terrific stuff. And no matter where you are, they will get it done for you. You can give him a call at 661-300-1115, 661-300-1115. Once again, 661-300-1115. at off-gridcreations.com, and they will take care of you. You're a wrestler, you need some gear done, all sorts of terrific stuff. You did the shirts, that great sign you can see behind me. Check them out. We would certainly appreciate it. All right, and when we come back, we'll revisit Full Gear a little bit, and some interesting going-ons at GCW this week. Are you kidding me? Everybody's showing up in GCW. I mean, I may have to go to GCW. Well, Phil doesn't like the idea. Yeah, I could get seriously hurt. Stick around, everybody. We'll be right back.
Looking for high-quality custom screen printing in Las Vegas? Look no further than Off Grid Creations. Need a few custom t-shirts for a local event, band merchandise, or family reunion? We've got you covered. Large order of uniforms for your staff, sports team, or club? We can handle that too. Our experienced team will work closely with you throughout the entire process from design consultation to final product. Call us at 661-300-1115. That's 661-300-1115. Or visit our website at off-gridcreations.com. Get a free consultation today.
Whoa, what just happened?
You were in a car accident. You should call Salmon Crash.
No way, I don't want any salmon.
Well, then how about Ed Beardstein?
The guy with the beard from the hockey game?
You might as well call Knock Me.
His name is Nacho.
What are you talking about? You should call Get the Win.
Get the Win? GetTheWin.com.
101.5 FM KDAWN.
This is the Marq Hoke Show. The Marq Hoke Show. Here again, your host, Marq Hoke.
And we return to the Marq Hoke Show here on KDAWN 101.5 FM, the talk of Las Vegas. I've got Stu Myrick from Sports Guys Talking Wrestling and Phil Stamper from the Wrestling Revolver. I almost said it wrong. Might have gotten a Sammy Callahan steel chair to the head on that one. You can follow Stu at Stu Myrick, STEWMYRCK. Phil is at Trust and Phil, which is the exact opposite of what you should do, but you know what? He is the president of wrestling. Tell me the lie. Tell me the lie, Phil. Go ahead.
Lie?
What lie?
What lie? What lie? I have a luscious long hair and the bronze body of a Greek god. Okay, I'm not tangible.
By the way, Pat McAfee's on the NFL Network.
Okay.
Oh,
he's at Lions Colts.
Oh, good for him. He picked that Indiana game so well yesterday. By the way, Phil, have you recovered from all that craziness yesterday? Or Stu? Sorry. All the football?
My Longhorns took care of business.
And
now it is rivalry week. After 13 years.
They're done dodging you.
Longhorns and the Aggies.
Phil, you're pointing a finger in the air.
While we've been on, I had a friend message me because he's watching the show, and I joined in partway through the private party interview, and he goes, "Why did he call you Phil Myers?" I was like, "What?
What?"
So apparently earlier in the show when you were talking, Phil and Stu will be on the show later, you called me Phil Myers and then corrected yourself. Where did Myers come from?
Well, it's Myrick.
Were you going like Phil Myers and caught it halfway?
I guess I blended you. I woke up at 3 this morning.
Hey, all
guys.
right.
Yeah.
We are now one entity, Stu.
Wow.
That's it.
Oh, God. It's like a composite co-host. Yikes. Before we get into some of the wrestling stuff, by the way, you guys asked for something, and I wanted to show this to you, and it also helps out my good friend Bionic Scoop in the chat box, because last year around this time of the season, someone made their in-ring debut, and we'll see if it ever happens again, but I wanted to put a couple pictures up and show you his work. See if you can recognize this new wrestling superstar right here.
Nice.
There he is, Santa Hoke, coming out at an FSW card last year. Check it out. Okay. And here it is, guys. I'm laying the clothesline on the Grinch. There it is. I have photographic proof that it happened.
There you go.
So you wanted it.
That is something.
You got it. There it is. How was my technique, Phil? Did I look okay?
You step through a little bit more, but you're okay.
Yeah, you're right. Honestly,
The Grinch did all the work.
Yeah. Actually, it's funny. It's funny you said that because actually MK said, just put your arm out. Just put your arm out. I'll run into it. I was like, okay, that's good. That'll work.
I mean, you're no, you're no Brett the Threat. You're no Brett Hankins. Like I'm just saying, maybe he should be the Grinch, and like maybe he beats up Santa Claus this year.
Oh no, Brett will twist me like a pretzel.
See,
I could probably hang on for about 15 seconds because I did wrestle, so I may be able to not get totally destroyed. That in a unreasonable time frame.
Like crick in your back and hip, like he just pops it right out. It'd be fine.
Oh man, if he break that little tension in my neck, I'd be thrilled to death. That'd be all right.
Perfect.
Yeah. So I did not throw a clothesline like JBL, but JBL was throwing clotheslines at GCW and pipe bombs from Ricky Starks. Kurt Angle shows up. I'll start on Ricky. Ricky was pretty vocal about him not doing anything right now in AEW, and there's word out there that he hasn't even talked to Tony forever. What do you think about that, Stu, with Ricky Starks just hanging out, man?
That's is what's funny is I just saw Ricky. So we had the Rhodes Wrestling Association inaugural event this past Thursday, Texas Fall Fury. Ricky was there in the crowd. Saw Ricky. I've seen Ricky lives here in Austin, and so he shows up at different shows and such. Ricky's always vocal. It's that's part of who Ricky is. Mm-hmm. The fact that he went off does not surprise me in the least. He is very he believes in himself and for good reason.
Agreed.
He is a fantastic talent. I've known him for a long time, and so it doesn't surprise me. I'm not sure. I'm not even that surprised that he hasn't talked to Tony. I think there are the reports that he may be WWE bound. I'll believe it when I see it, but it's not too far fetched.
Yeah, it was one heck of a tangent he put out there last night, Phil. That's for sure.
But then he was also backstage at AEW last night.
Yeah.
So it isn't like he's like banned from the building.
Yeah. And you got to wonder, I'll tell you, I wouldn't mind seeing him pop up against Daniel Garcia and getting a TNT battle. I mean, that would be a pretty cool way to bring him back. Let two of the AEW young guns really, tear each other apart. I think that'd be a fun feud.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I think he and Daniel would have great chemistry in the ring. I would love to see that. And that would be, you're right, that would be a fantastic way to bring Ricky back into, the whole, the fold, as you will.
And, of course, also at GCW last night, Kurt Angle shows up. JBL comes out, and it's another clothesline. What is this man doing? I've got Gerald Briscoe's number. I had him on the show, and I may have to ask if we can get JBL on the show because he's got to tell somebody what the heck he's doing. But this is crazy with him popping up TNA and all these independents, just laying somebody out and walking out the door. I mean, Phil, this is a very interesting maneuver on JBL's part.
Mm-hmm. There's a part of me that's like, okay, he's trying to make his presence known, but to what extent? Where is it going to end up? Where is it going to go? At the end of the day, I think he is trying.
Yeah, I think that's pretty close to it. It is odd that he just shows up at name your favorite show, clotheslines one or two folks, and then then bolts. It's kind of like, okay, what is this leading to?
Right.
And I like I said earlier, the whole let's have patience, but This has been going on for a few months now. He was, of course, last time I saw him, he was in Las Vegas for Cauliflower Alley Club. He was there to give the report on Black Bart, which, pray all of you pray for him. He's having, serious health issues. But JBL, I think he's he's feeling like, hey, let's see what kind of trouble I can cause.
No, I think he's thinking about making a comeback. I don't know if you saw on X that he had posted a picture of himself it looked like he was in fantastic shape and said he was pain-free for the first time in years. Boy, I tell you, could you imagine JBL? Oh my gosh, could you imagine if he shows up at the Royal Rumble? That'd be fun.
That would be fun.
That would be fun. Maybe that's what this is all going to. And I want to get on the show and just ask him, are you going to be at the Royal Rumble? See what he says.
Yeah.
I think
we should.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens with JBL coming up. Now, I did want to go back to a couple things of Full Gear real fast. As we talked about the reset and what looks like AEW is trying to do. What did you think about the night overall, though? Did you like the card? Did you like the way it was wrestled? Because there were some interesting complaints, from our grumpy friends on the internet last night. But Phil, what did you think of the card overall yesterday?
I mean, overall, like I said before, I thought they did a really good job of building interest into this event. I'm not going to lie, though, watching some of it, though I overall was enjoyed. I had a good feeling about the company where it was at after I watched it. But I will say I noticed from the crowd, sometimes there was a lot of silence in the crowd. And that's something you never really want. And it was like I thought the wrestlers were doing what they wanted, but the crowd wasn't quite giving the right response back. So there's still a little bit of a disconnect with reaching out to the crowd, engaging them to make that noise that I think they still need to be better at incorporating. Because that was one of my frustrations during the pandemic era was, here's WWE before they had the Thunderdome, where I remember there was some spot on Raw where everybody's down and the commentator stopped talking. And it's like, don't like, even for me, my chest was like, oh, don't be quiet. Oh, this is weird. What are you doing? So they need to do more to fill in the space with some noise. There were a couple matches that I was like, if you took out this 3-minute segment, it would have been a great match. You didn't need this 3-minute filler space. I felt that happened a couple of times. There was a moment, and this is going to be bad. Sorry if I'm breaking a fourth wall. How many matches in a row need to have the almost 10 count running at 9.99999 seconds? And that happened 3 matches in a row. And it's like, okay, so maybe it's a matter of also agenting between some of the matches for certain spots to like, hey, make sure the agents are on point and make sure talent listens to the agents, which has been problematic before. And maybe that needs to be kicked in the rear a little bit more.
Stu, take us through that process a little bit, because maybe there's a lot of casual fans that don't know what we're talking about when we say that the agents need to coordinate.
So when you put a card together, you have 5, 6, 7 matches. You always tell your talent, if there is a spot, do not repeat the same spot every match, because it's the law of diminishing returns. Mm-hmm. And what Phil talked about with the 9.999 count, yeah, it's that. The other thing that and again, AEW does a fine job with pay-per-views. They always do a really good job. But sometimes their matches could do much better if you cut them down a little bit. The false finishes. There's another one. You don't need 25 false finishes in a match.
There were a lot last night. A lot.
Again, law of diminishing returns. The one story I have a particular problem with is this MJF, Adam Cole, Roderick Strong. They have discombobulated this thing and made it too complicated to the point where, the crowd's like, why should we care?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not. And that's one of the frustrations I have, not just with AEW, but with the current state of pro wrestling. Again, 56 years old. I am middle aged. I am an old school. I cheer for the baby faces. I boo the heels. You don't get that anymore. Everybody cheers for whoever they want. They don't care.
Mm-hmm.
The whole babyface heel thing has become so muddled to where I get the sense that the wrestlers in the ring, they're having a hard time trying to react to a crowd reaction.
That's
because
important.
The crowd reaction it could go 8 ways to Sunday.
Mm-hmm. I
think there's a big part of that. But this MJF Adam Cole, it's like, why do I care that Roderick Strong was trying to get at MJF? What does that make a difference? Again, and then on top of that, MJF been gone for 2 months filming Happy Gilmore 2. Yeah, you saw some pre-tapes of him. He is, I dare say, and I like Max. I like Max. I would say right now he is probably a quarter of the, big time star heel that he was.
I would agree.
But he doesn't get the reactions that he used to.
No, and this feud with Adam Cole, when it was going on before everybody got hurt, I really liked the idea. You pull him out of being the bad guy and give him an experience he's supposedly never had in his life, having a friend, getting in his head and his heart, and then ripping it to shreds to morph him into even more of an evil, nasty, cutthroat kind of guy. I loved the idea, but the problem was that when they're both done after that, Cole's already hurt, and then you bring them back and the roles flip. All of a sudden, MJF's the heel and Cole's the good guy, and it is muddied the waters. And they need MJF to be on top of the card. They need him there. And right now, they have put him in a weird spot that, to be very frank, they should, if it were me, I would be walking in the room and saying, we're done with this. We're done with this. We got to take one of our top guys in a better direction. So,
and what's with Kyle O'Reilly? What's that? I mean, why is he so upset? I mean, it's like you wanted Adam Cole to come back and be by himself, but then, yes, you lump him back in with Undisputed Kingdom, but Kyle O'Reilly has a problem with it. And again, it is so complicated. It's so hard to follow. It's like, why? I don't care. All right, get me to the next match.
Phil, how you feeling?
I hate saying that because I like Adam and Max.
Yeah, I do too.
Great. For all transparency, I missed like the beginning chunk of the pay-per-view itself. So I came in the middle of MJF Roderick Strong, and I was like, "Oh, it's on now? Are they later in the card than I thought we were?" Like, I thought their placement. I thought that was an odd placement, but then going through the flow of everything else, there was a lot of content. So I was like, okay, and you see this with WWE too. Yeah, you sort of randomize where sometimes things are on the card. I agree with MJF's position. At the same time, what does he have another film project coming up? Is he going back to film more with the movie? So there's a little bit too of trying to make all parties happy and trying to make it all work, and it might just not be working. Kyle O'Reilly to me feels a little bit like the man left out. And so what I sort of took away from him last night was he is now trying to mastermind something. Like when he's shouting, go get him, go get him, go get him. Like you should go run after him or something like that. It was like, oh, is he now trying to maybe manipulate people? So now he'll be for sure the heel bad guy. I don't know.
I would buy that, except he was telling Adam Cole, don't go after MJF because
I thought he was saying go after him. Why aren't you?
On Dynamite, he told him, don't go. Bad things are going to happen. You need to step away from this. And I'm going, okay, why does he care? Again, I don't get it. It's just, I don't know. Like I said, the other one I have, Mercedes Moné, I am so bored with her. It's take the title off her, for the love of God. I'm so bored with her. It's the same act. Allegedly, we're going to see Camille, turn on her event, or she turns on Camille. Which, and again, I think Camille needs to have a bigger spotlight. Honestly, she's a fantastic talent. Don't make her. She was an insurance policy for Nick Aldis when he was NWA champion. Do not, you didn't need to just do this again with Mercedes.
Yeah,
if you want her to take that TBS title off of her, great. Let's do it though. I'm so bored with Mercedes Moné, and I hate saying that, but I'm bored with her.
Well, fair enough. Yeah, we can talk more about that when we come back. And we do need to get our final of the break of the show in here real quick on the Marq Hoke Show here on KDAWN 101.5 FM. Talk of Las Vegas. Phil Stamper, Stu Myrick, not Phil Myers or Stu Stamper. I like Stu Stamper, though. That's pretty
Alliteration
good.
is good.
That reminds me of the Mongolian Stomper. Put you two together and, we'll take that route. Stick around, everybody. We'll be right back.
Do a speechless.
101.5 FM KDAWN.
You're listening to the #1 professional wrestling radio show in Vegas, The Marq Hoke Show. The Marq Hoke Show. Now, here again is Marq Hoke.
All right, let's do this one more time. The best in pro wrestling news and entertainment on the Marq Hoke Show here on KDAWN 101.5 FM. The talk of Las Vegas, Phil Stamper, Stu Myrick, along with me, by the way, in the good old chat box. Our friend Coach Rosie, who is a little occupied this morning, says good morning from the tour bus. Interesting. I wonder what he's touring. Well, but good morning to you, Coach. Good to talk to you. So, but guys, it's Thanksgiving weekend. We got a lot of wrestling coming up this weekend with TNA Turning Point. We've got Survivor Series. So we're going to be busy watching some wrestling this weekend. What are you guys excited about this weekend? The TNA Turning Point card with Nemeth and Edwards, Grace Slamovich. We've got the Thanksgiving Turkey Bowl match. That sounds like something I'd probably be in. Hardy's and Ace Austin against Rascals Kushida. Josh Alexander Macklin. We got Kazarian Santana, Moose Laredo Kid on that one. Anything out there really stand out to you on that card? Stu?
Hardy's and the Rascals sound intriguing. It's that feels like the two generations facing off in the ring. So I like Hardy's Rascals. I'm definitely interested in.
What do you think, Phil?
That was going to be my first pick too, but also, this is the second match for Masha and Jordan, but now Masha's the champion, so I'm excited to see that. I had to look at the card really quick because I hadn't committed to memory yet.
I'll tell you one that I'm going to be interested to watch is Frankie Kazarian and Mike Santana. Santana is working his way to the top here, and I think it's going to be a fun match. And probably see Santana go over. Is he getting ready to challenge Nick Nemeth, or are they going to send him after Moose for that X title? But I'm really excited about the work he's doing. That's going to be a lot of fun. I just don't know about this Turkey Bowl match. Those matches, they're sometimes fun, but they drive me nuts. And Joe Hendry's stuck in there too. Well, he went from the hottest guy in the world to being a Thanksgiving Turkey Bowl match. Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh well.
But then we get a no DQ Steve Macklin, Josh Alexander. Macklin is dangerous. I love these promos that he's cutting. If you all haven't seen them,
yeah.
These are amazing cinematic looks at him, and is he being turned down an even darker path? That kind of interests me. I'm curious where they're going to develop him too. I mean, he was the top guy for a hot second, and then they had a little bit of a TNA reset, and so I want to see him get back there. And if he has to go through Josh Alexander to do it in this no DQ match, so be it. And Josh is somebody too who's amazing, completely super talented and skilled. He might lay waste to a Steve Macklin, and what more will that bring out of Josh Alexander?
Yeah, I agree. You got a good point there. That's going to be a blast too. And then we got Survivor Series. Are you excited about the women's match, guys? Yeah, maybe. The only reason that I am really, really looking forward to it is I'm just wondering if there's going to be some Tiffany Stratton hijinks in this one. If something could happen that she may cash in Survivor Series. Otherwise, it'll be fun, I suppose.
It's fine. I like Survivor Series, but it
could happen that she may cash in Survivor Series. Otherwise, it'll be fun, I suppose.
It's fine. I like Survivor Series, but it kind of does the same thing as Crown Jewel. It puts a stop in whatever storyline you're doing because you got to do the creative for Crown Jewel and then the Survivor Series thing. And at least Survivor Series tries to work in some of the current storylines, but at the same time, it feels a little bit like, oh, we got to do this because of this. The women's Survivor Series match is going to be interesting. They taped SmackDown. That's going to air this coming Friday night. There are some things that are supposed to happen regarding the women's Survivor Series match. I'm not going to give any spoilers. But that'll be interesting. Of course, the Bloodline versus the OG Bloodline. That'll be interesting. Gunther and Damian Priest again. I am a huge fan of Damian Priest. Have been going all the way back to his ROH days. I'm not sure I can care about this again because we've seen it already. And it feels like Damian Priest is on a different path. So I don't know. Not to mention they've still got to fill out the card a little bit.
Right.
I mean,
there's more to come.
We got 2-3 matches. We got to see some more. At least 2 or 3 more. Right?
Let's do an hour and a half War Games match. Let's just do it. Let the Bloodline just beat each other up for an hour and a half. Who needs multiple matches on the card? Just 3 will do it.
Well, and the War Games matches do take quite a bit of time.
Yeah,
so
they do.
Because you got the entrances and everything, and then every 3 minutes somebody else comes in. So, and you got 2 of them. So yeah, that's going to take up quite a bit of time. So I would think at least 1 or 2 more matches are going to be set.
Right.
What are they?
Yeah. And by the way, want to wish Kenny Omega all the best, who's going to be coming back January 5th in New Japan. That should be a lot of fun. And Baron Corbin winning judo tournaments down there in Tampa. Good for him, man. Way to refocus and clobber some people. So congratulations to Tom Pestock, Baron Corbin. Guys, thank you so much. Stu Myrick, of course, you can follow him at Stu Myrick, STEWMYRCK. Sports Guys Talking Wrestling. Phil Stamper is at Trust and Phil. Check out the Wrestling Revolver and everything else Phil's got going on, too. And, guys, want to wish you a very happy Thanksgiving.
You as well.
You too.
Yep. And to all
Go Longhorns, beat Aggies.
There you go. Well, thank you for joining us on the Marq Hoke Show here on KDAWN. We will see you next Sunday morning, 8 to 10. Thanks for being with us. We'll catch you next time. Have a good one, Las Vegas.
Want more of The Marq Hoke Show? Follow us on Twitter at Marq Hoke Show, like us on Facebook at The Marq Hoke Show, and visit MarkHokeShow.com to keep up with everything happening with the show. And remember to check out all of our archive shows on YouTube at The Marq Hoke Show and download our podcasts at markhokeshow.podbean.com and all your favorite podcast outlets. So join The Marq Hoke Show family today, and thanks for listening.